I think it's quite embarrassing getting the England cap, the captain of England. Sorry, was he 100 caps for his country to go for tackle practice? Like, it's a bit bizarre, but yeah, he does have a reputation for tackling high. We all know that. He's been caught out a couple of times before, leading with the shoulder, not wrapping the arm, but like the old rugby league tackles. You would have seen Sonny Bill Williams doing it quite often. But of course, the game has changed, and you got to lower your tackle technique. And Johnny Sexton's the same. Look at it; he's now got had to go under the knife to get surgery to fix a cheekbone or eye socket, whatever it was, because of being too upright in the tackle. Fortunately for Johnny, he doesn't seem to lead with the shoulder. It's very much just standing up and trying to grab and ride the momentum of the tackle, where Owen Farrell does like to stick the shoulder in. So I was chatting to John Barkley about it last night, and Tom Shanklin as well. And he's probably not going to be picked in the England squad so that he can miss a game of his ban through being eligible to play for Saracens. So there's ways and means about going around this, and then you got to take in the integrity of it all, and I think it's lost somewhat. So look, we all know that when it comes to citing, it comes to bans, that before you know it, you always pick up the newspaper or read a column online or on social media that Owen Farrell's could miss 12 weeks of rugby, and then all of a sudden the ban actually comes around. What's he missing? 3 games or 4 games, something like that. So I think it's all a bit of a joke sometimes. If you're going to be banned, you should be banned for 6 weeks. If it's your first ban ever, then of course that could be reduced. No problem for having a good record. Just the same way, if you got a slap in the wrist by the police around the corner, that you would get off a little lighter because you haven't been charged before. But somebody with previous shouldn't automatically be given an opportunity to have their ban reduced and go for tackle skills and get it reduced even more. So yeah, it's all a bit of a farce, and the reality is he's probably going to be back for England against Scotland. Yeah. I think when Munster's backs were against the wall like a month ago, they come out swinging. And you've seen that against Ulster, that holding onto the ball for long periods, bringing them through phases, just grinding them down. Like Ulster's got to try and find something similar. La Rochelle probably aren't going to be as strong as we've seen. Dante, the man of the match against Ulster in their last encounter, he hasn't played in the last couple of weeks. Looks like he's out injured. I've seen on Will Skelton's Instagram that he's saying good to be back with the boys. He's obviously been out as well. Will he be playing? He might get onto the bench if he hasn't played, but they're off of the back of a really good result, 30 points to 7 win against Toulouse at home last weekend. 9 scrum penalties in the game, completely dominated them up front. And that's a great platform to build on, get into this week in Europe against Ulster, where Ulster's platform is completely the opposite. A loss to Benetton away from home, you never see that happen to Ulster. A loss at home, and then, of course, the previous couple of weeks in the competition, they get smashed by Sale, 39 points, and smashed by La Rochelle in the Aviva Stadium. So they're on a bad run. Yes, they're on a bad run. Can they go away to the European champions and get a result? I don't think they can, but what they can do is they can go out, backs against the wall stuff, show what they're made of, show what they've built on in the last couple of seasons. And I think a lot of the time, Donny, it comes down to a mentality. You got to go out and prove and show the doubters that you do have it in you to compete against the best. I don't think they'll have it in them to compete against the best for 80 minutes, and that's why I think they'll lose the game. But this Ulster side has shown over the last couple of seasons that they can cause teams lots of trouble. They're going to be out without their star man, Rob Balakoon. He's picked up a hamstring injury. Marty Moore, he's done his ACL, so he's going to be out for the guts of 12 months. Sean Raphael, who's been a tackling machine over the last couple of weekends, has busted his ankle, so he's going to be out. And the front row is a bit of a concern, considering Tamang Allen started his first game against Benetton last week, and he seems to be the only real fit tight head at the minute. And it looks like he's probably going to start again this weekend. So, yeah, both teams have injury concerns, but La Rochelle have a much bigger squad, and Ulster have got to come out swinging. They really do. They got to up their physicality. They got to win the contacts on both sides of the ball. They can't just rely on Stuart McCluskey time and time again to give them that go forward. Their forward pack has to cause the opposition trouble. Nick Timoney, we all know how explosive and powerful he can be with ball in hand. He needs to get on the ball, but Ulster aren't holding on to the ball. This is the problem. We're saying Ulster's defence, it's so poor at the minute, missing loads of tackles. Well, of course it's going to be poor if you keep handing the opposition the ball back. It's even the likes of Benetton caused Ulster serious problems. So, it's been all positive vibes, Donny, coming out of the Ulster camp this week. It's completely different since after the Munster loss. It's all like we're so proud of how the Ulster boys stuck in there and fought back to get 2 points out of the Benetton. They easily could have collapsed, and we're going to work hard. And we now realise that it's the finer margins in attack that we need to understand. Well, let's see if they've figured it out, because we've tried to figure it out for the last 6-7 weeks and haven't been able to do so. And I think even that Connacht win, that Jack Hardy missed the conversion to draw the game, was sort of papering over a couple of cracks as well. So, look, as I repeat myself, they have a big game in them. They do, but their confidence levels are low, and I think ultimately that will maybe cost them in this game as well. For as long as I can remember, Munster just need an occasion to turn their season around or to turn their form around, and that occasion was South Africa A versus Munster A. In a GAA stadium, sold out, unbelievable atmosphere. Some of the Munster players saying it was one of the best nights of their career, and they get the win. They beat a very good South African A side, and from then on, they've just taken it and ran with it. And they've got their centre combinations right. Antoine Frisch looks like the number one centre. What a player he is. Every time he touches the ball, he looks electric. Well, it's Fekitoa alongside him, or Scannell, or whoever slips in there. It seems to be going well. They've got their back row functioning great. Kendellen, how good has he been over the last couple of weeks? 20 carries there at the last weekend against the Lions. Same again against Ulster the week before. I probably should have given him the man of the match because he was so good. Gavin Coombs, I know he played in the second row there for a game, but that was just filling in. He's backed his best, scoring tries. Paddy Patterson at scrum half has found something. It's just got the zip to their game. And I know Ben Healy signed for Edinburgh, but he's playing reasonably well also. So just so many options. And I talk about the Ulster team and how they're big game players, they're standout, they're marquee, they're hottest commodities. It's Jacob Stockdale's, James Humes, Dwayne Vermeulen, Alan O'Connor, Ian Henderson, Rob Herring, all these guys that are the highest paid players, but also the guys that you rely on week in, week out. They haven't been playing that well and are struggling for form and struggling to get any momentum in their own personal game, where it's the opposite for Munster. And like Donny, we chatted, 10 weeks ago about this slump that Munster were in, and they couldn't find anything, and they needed this to get a win or two to get them going. Well, now they've got it. So hopefully the same happens with Ulster, but they've found a groove. They've added Mossy Lawler to their coaching staff, a former player, a Connacht man who works tirelessly on skills levels. So, the way this Munster team are playing, keeping plenty of width on it, started to get a bit of dominance in the last couple of weeks up front as well, because their scrum come under a huge pressure in the early part of the season. And fair play to Graham Rowntree and Dennis Leamy, Andy Kiriakou and the other coaches involved, because it's turned Munster season around. They had a great win away to Northampton in the European Cup, and you would expect a pretty buoyant Thomond Park this weekend to get another result, and they'll be flying in the European Cup and give themselves a real good opportunity of progressing in the tournament.